Tattoo artists of Reddit. What is the most messed up thing you've tattooed? I've been a tattoo artist for 5 years now, but one time last year a couple walked into our shop. Most artists were busy, and I was the one finishing up, so I took them in, handed them a book to pick a design. The girlfriend goes, "Oh, we don't need that, we already have one in mind." So I was like, okay, cool. Now that it's their turn, the couple seemed excited about it. So when I sat them down, I asked how they are, and they said that it is their 4th anniversary, and wanted to get tattooed something to each other. I thought it would be a normal tattoo session, and boy, it was messier than that. The thing is, they wanted to surprise each other blindfolded. The guy picked a small butterfly on her wrist, which I thought was sweet. So when it's the guy's turn to get tattooed, I asked the lady what she wanted, and she gave me a piece of paper with a name on it. I thought, all right then, I guess she wanted to mark her name on his chest. The guy agreed, we blindfolded him, we were chatting up, and at the end of the session, they would do the reveal. The guy was scarily surprised and angry. He ended up leaving the shop, and the girlfriend just laughed. I asked what happened, and if he didn't like it. Turns out the name I tattooed on him is the name of the girl he was cheating with. Subscribe. Tattoo artist, what is the most bad thing you have done as a parent for your teenage daughter? My 15-year-old daughter had a rare cancer, and chemotherapy was the best choice. I can't even begin to understand how she felt when her hair started falling out. She became very upset. She cherished her hair and appearance, but now she was almost gray and very thin. That night, after she went to bed, I gathered all my courage and shaved off all my hair until my head was completely bald and smooth. I was aware that I was sure to be stared at and laughed at, but I didn't care. My little girl was all that I was worried about, and in the morning, she couldn't believe what she saw. She was overjoyed, though, and felt a lot less scared about losing her hair. She cried tears of joy, and I vowed to her that we would go through it all together. I kept my hair shaven until my daughter finally beat cancer, and then when she came off chemo, I let my hair grow back. It was a horrible time for my daughter, but I'm proud of her for going through it. She was so brave, and I think me having no hair gave her the extra confidence she needed and made her feel less alone. My 16-year-old son also shaved his head, which surprised me. The whole family made it as easy as we could. What is the most bad thing you have done as a parent? What is the most disrespectful thing a guest ever did in your home? During our 2nd year of university, my roommates and I resided in a basement suite of a house, with a landlord living upstairs. One day, she came down the stairs connecting the upper and lower suites to deliver some mail. The door to our basement is usually locked from the outside, preventing us from going upstairs, but it seems she forgot to lock it back up after leaving. That night, we realized that our friend John was missing. His shoes were still by the door, so we assumed he had walked outside barefoot. The next day, the landlord comes down and says, "We had an escapee last night." We were all confused for a moment, but then it all clicked for us at the same time. Turns out, John had been feeling adventurous and, without realizing what he was doing, opened the door to the upstairs and walked up. He headed towards the refrigerator, popped it open, and began devouring chunks of pie directly from the container. What amazed me was that she didn't panic or spoil our party. Instead, she engaged in conversation with him, assuming it was his birthday, which could justify his extreme drunkenness. He responded with a witty remark, saying, "I've been 19 for 2 years. I'm from Campbell River, where time moves at a snail's pace." After sharing a laugh at his joke and polishing off his mouth full of pie, she calmly guided him back downstairs as if nothing out of the ordinary had occurred. What is the most disrespectful thing? What is the most embarrassing moment your child has revealed in front of your family member? When we purchased our first vehicle, a second-hand Fiat, our daughter was quite young. We didn't anticipate her confusion as to why we couldn't get a brand new car. Being a young couple, a new car was simply out of our financial reach. My daughter was thrilled and had already spread the news to all her friends about our new car. However, upon returning from school and seeing the old white Fiat parked outside, her expression dropped. She was taken aback and asked if we were struggling financially. It was then that I realized our mistake. We should have explained things to her beforehand. I sat her down and clarified that her father worked very hard to earn money for everything we had, including the car. I explained that a second-hand car was the best option for us at that time. From that day onwards, every time she encountered someone, whether it was in the neighborhood, at the market, at school, or during family gatherings, she would proudly gesture towards the car and proclaim, "My dad bought this car with his own hard-earned money." It was clear to us that she was defending the age of the car on behalf of all of us. Children truly possess such. What is the most emotional experience you have had as a step-parent, when the biological parent is still around? In 2001, my wife had an affair and became pregnant. We decided to raise the child my own, leaving it up to me to decide when and how to tell her, and that it should be me who tells her, as it will affect mine and my daughter's relationship most. I'm even listed on her birth certificate as her father. When I and my wife of 24 years finally separated in 2013, she told our daughter Violet that I was not her biological father. She tried preventing me from contacting her, even changed schools without my knowledge or consent. For about a year, she controlled and limited my access until a court gave me joint custody, and it became harder for her to come between us. Unfortunately, her mom told her lies, and during that year, my daughter wanted little to do with me. I never gave up, and my daughter and I are very close. She has caught her mom in enough lies that she no longer believes any of her stories. Our bond was strong enough to overcome the negative. Plus, her 3 older brothers have set her straight on the truth. She told me, "Dad, I know why Mom did what she did." When I asked why, she said to make me. What's one thing that made you say never again, and why? I bought a pack of 150 mint Mentos to munch on while studying. Ended up getting so engrossed in my assignment that I devoured the whole pack in just 12 hours. The next day, my partner and I took our dogs for a walk to a cafe. As we sipped our coffee, my stomach started to ache. I considered using the restroom, but the cafe only had one toilet and it was occupied. Decided to just hold it until we got back home, which was about a 30-minute walk away. As we start walking back, I begin to sweat. Cramps become unbearable. I give my partner the dog lead and tell her I need to run. She doesn't know what's going on. I start sprinting, which then makes the stomach cramp so so much worse. I suddenly know I won't make it. On the verge of tears due to stomach cramps, I spot a bush. Can't hold it any longer. Quickly pull down my pants, but it's a messy situation. Poop everywhere. Bush doesn't provide enough cover. Other people walking their dogs pass by, and a dog approaches. Embarrassed, still unable to stop pooping, my partner catches sight of me. My pug happily greets me, jumps right into my messy diarrhea. Never touched Mentos again. What's one thing that made you say never? Parents of Reddit, what's something that your kid has done that you pretended to be angry about but secretly impressed? When my son turned 2, he got his very first pair of eyeglasses. Initially, he resisted wearing them, but soon he realized that he could see properly for the first time in his life. After a few days of wearing his glasses, I brought home a huge 5-pound bag of individually wrapped chocolates that I had planned to take to the office later. My son had gone upstairs to his toy room and had been unusually quiet for quite some time. Concerned, I went up to check on him, and to my surprise, I found him surrounded by chocolate wrappers, completely covered in chocolate. He had managed to devour half the bag all by himself and was beaming with pride, saying, "Mommy, I didn't need any help to open them, so I didn't have to ask." It was the first time he could actually see where to pull and open the wrappers. I couldn't be angry with him because I was so overjoyed that he could finally see. However, I had to explain to him that even though he didn't need help opening the candy anymore, he still needed to ask for permission before taking it. The consequence of his actions was a bellyache, since he is lactose intolerant. Parents of Reddit,